Hello there. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has attracted the anger of the left by declaring that refugees will only get bed, bread and soap. Despite his country subscribing to the same European Convention on Human Rights as the UK does, Chancellor Scholz has declared that those asylum seekers who travel from other EU member states into Germany to make their claims will only be provided with the basics of bed, bread and soap. No extra benefits for them. And this new policy comes after a Syrian asylum seeker stabbed 3 people to death in Solingen last week, allegedly. After the terrorist attack in Solingen, said Scholz, we are determined to draw the necessary conclusions. Deportations will be made easier. The authorities will be strengthened in the fight against violent Islamism, and gun laws will be further tightened. A tarring of all asylum seekers with the same brush that would never ever be allowed in the UK, of course. And our very own Keir Starmer is doing a deal with Germany right now. So all those asylum seekers originally Germany bound may well now change course for the French coast and await their rubber dinghy taxis. Scholz, though, is facing a massive rout of his Social Democratic Party at the hands of right-wing parties at the East German elections on Sunday. So this grabbing at a populist agenda by Scholz might have more to do with electioneering than any real care for the German people. Now, I do have to wonder if the German courts will find this government reaction a little too harsh for them to stomach. In the past, the German courts have decided that other EU states, such as Greece, have not done enough for the EU's newcomers. So asylum seekers cannot be turfed out of Germany and sent back to those EU countries. Maybe they'll decide that Olaf Scholz's plans fall into that category too. Isn't it strange how all these EU countries, just like the UK, are all signatories to the same European Convention on Human Rights, but their citizens and newcomers to their shores all have different human rights? Maybe the ECHR has passed its sell-by date. Now, Scholz called the Solingen atrocity terrorism against us all, and that he would have to do everything we can to ensure that those who cannot and should not stay here in Germany are repatriated and deported. And that weapons laws would be tightened very quickly. There will be no knives on buses, trains or in festivals, and asylum seekers won't be allowed to return to their home country for a holiday. And that's one thing that sticks in my craw about all of this. How can someone claim asylum, claim they face death and or persecution in their home country, and then swan off back home on holiday? And it seems to be happening everywhere. Surely, when someone leaves their safe haven country to go home for a break, it should instantly negate their asylum claim or their asylum status, don't you think? Chancellor Scholz is also looking at reducing the legal bar for deportations when the refugee has committed a serious crime, even with youth offenders. Now, one of the outcomes of all of this is that because of the deaths, the blame for the failure to deport the alleged Solingen perpetrator when his initial claim was rejected is being passed the parcelled around government departments in Germany. No one cared about it until Solingen occurred, it seems. And that's presumably why the laws are being tightened so stringently. I wonder if that lesson could be learned in another country not so very far from us. Or will that country decide that newcomers' human rights preempt everything? I mean, in the UK, this Starmer-led government has their go-to whipping horse. Yep, the far right. Always blame everything on the far right. While in Spain and France we have coastal forces ramming vessels to stop their progress. In the Spanish case, the patrol boat actually went over a speeding boat that seemed to have refused to stop when ordered. And the French patrol boat appears to have attempted to knock an extremely overcrowded and unsteady rubber boat off its UK-bound course. Both of these would of course be a total no-no for UK Border Force, and the RNLI would have a meltdown were they asked to emulate those sorts of operations. Now contrast the situation in Germany, Spain and France to that of another EU member state, the Republic of Ireland. Because there's some good news for those wanting to make a new life for themselves in the Republic of Ireland. According to a very recent survey, 64% of people in the Republic of Ireland warmly welcome immigration. So I do have to wonder why the Irish government was at great pains recently to send migrants back over the border into Northern Ireland. Must have been an administrative error, one assumes. And the poll conducted by Ireland Thinks for the Migrant Rights Centre Ireland shows that only 18% of respondents to the survey disagree that Ireland should welcome people who move there. And on undocumented migrants, 69% of respondents said they should be allowed to come forward and be regularised, i.e. given amnesty. And 65% said their families should be allowed in too. How welcoming of them! With Neil Bruton, campaigns manager for the Migrant Rights Centre Ireland, saying, "People clearly support progressive policy changes that address the persistent challenges people face when moving to Ireland to make a better life." Well, that's all that sorted then. Open borders for the Republic of Ireland it is then. I wonder what the handful of people in those small towns that have been protesting over mass inward migration for ages think about this. Maybe if the government of the Republic of Ireland had a referendum on it. But that's not going to happen, is it? But RTE, which is the Republic of Ireland's state broadcaster, so much like the BBC, is reporting on this survey of 1,465 people, saying that the majority agree that Ireland should welcome migrants. But there seems to be no mention of numbers or for how long, etc. As ever with this issue, the assumption is made that they should just keep coming at will until no longer wish to keep coming. And I'm not sure that's a sustainable way forwards. I also wonder how many respondents were worried about appearing to be racist, so gave the acceptable answer, especially if it was an online or telephone poll. After all, state surveillance runs deep everywhere now, doesn't it? But the Irish people are very well aware of their tendency to travel and emigrate to other countries and getting a warm reception there. So there may also be some guilt about not affording newcomers to their shores the same courtesy when filling in that survey. Personally, having seen the reports coming out of the Republic of Ireland, I'm very sceptical about the accuracy of this particular survey.